So in the last session, we discussed about FSM, Functional Setup Manager. So within the Functional Setup Manager, we have to enable the offerings and options so that we can create implementation project to perform the setups, or you can call as to do the implementation. While we create implementation project, we have to select required offerings and options, or else after creating implementation project also we can do this. Okay, we can assign offerings, options, or task lists or specific tasks to team members, and we can set the due dates, and we can update the status of the setups. Overall progress of the project we can track. And if you want to move the setups from one instance to another instance, yes, that is also possible. Okay, so that is also possible. So these are the points we discussed, right? In the last session, we have seen how to enable the offerings and options. Now we'll see how to create the implementation project. Okay. So in the last session, we have seen how to enable the offerings and options, what are the documents are available, and a few other points we discussed. In today's session, we'll see how to create implementation project, and we'll go through all these details. Done.
Yeah, good morning,
Please.
Lakshman. Sorry. Yeah, I mean, in the last class, we discussed about the primary lecture, right?
Sorry.
I mean, out of the,
One
what
second,
is that?
Fine. Let's navigate to FSM. We know the navigation, right? So just we have to click on the username. Just click on username. So the task name is setup and maintenance. Okay, click on setup and maintenance task. It will navigate us to FSM. This is FSM page. Now we want to create implementation project. What is the purpose we want to create the implementation project? Okay, the purpose is to do the setups. Okay, the purpose is to perform the setups. One second. One second, please. Sorry, the mouse control was not working. One second, please. Okay. So now we are going to create implementation project. What is the purpose? We are going to create implementation project to perform the setups. Okay, let's see how to do that. So first we have to click on the username, then select task called as setup and maintenance. It will navigate us to FSM. We are in the FSM function setup manager page. And to create the project, click on task list. Contains list of tasks, or you can call it the task panel. Click on this. It will display all the tasks which are available. Now click on manage implementation projects task. Click on manage implementation projects. Okay. Here you could see many projects. Here you can see many projects. Okay, I'll just touch all the points what you are expecting to know and what I plan to discuss with you. Maybe just you have to wait for some time. After certain discussions, still if you don't see that those relevant points what you are expecting to understand, you can raise as a question. First, give me chance to discuss on those. Here you can see many projects. When it comes to reality, how many projects we can have in one instance? What Oracle is doing is, for one client, Oracle is providing only one instance. Okay, of course, they can provide more than ideally one instance is enough for one client. Say company name is XYZ Inc. They want to implement Fusion applications. They can take the subscription from Oracle. By using that single instance, they can do the implementation for one or multiple countries. Now the question is, real time when you work for any client, how many projects we have to create, how many implementation projects we have to create. The simple point is, implementation project purpose is to perform the setups. Ideally, we plan to complete the setups country wise. Okay, we never mess different country setups at a time. So we just go country wise. So you are going to implement for your client for US operations, for US business. Sorry. So in that case, we have to create one implementation project for US, and what are the setups you want to do for US business operations. You can perform the setups. And you are implementing for your client for India also. Now create one more implementation project. Why you are creating two separate implementation projects for the same client? Just to simplify managing the setups. If you want to create the single implementation projects for multiple countries, yes, possible. From single implementation project, you can do the implementation for multiple countries. What we can get from implementation project, just you can get the access to setups. If you want to get that access separately for each country, yes, you can create for each country one implementation project for how many countries you are doing the implementation, or else for multiple countries also you can manage with a single implementation project. But sometimes there will be some challenge if you go with one implementation project with for multiple countries. What exactly that we will see when we start working on the system related to setups. But this is a point we have to understand. The question is how many implementation projects we have to create. For one client, one implementation project is enough. If you are going to implement for the same client for multiple countries, what is the best practice? For each country, you can create separate implementation project so that without any issues with respect to configuration or setups, easily you will be able to perform the setups and you can manage the same setups without any mess of setup related information. So this is the first point we have to understand. On this point, any questions from anyone, please? How to create, we are going to see. So what are the points just now we discussed on this point? Any questions from anyone, please?
Yeah, hi Lakshman. This is Salim Sheikh.
Please.
Yeah, so in project, I mean, in FSM page, we have a search this, right? So even
Your
in Picklist
voice is
also, we have
not audible. There is up and downs and off.
okay,
Yeah.
now is it fine, Lakshman? Okay.
Yeah.
So here we are finding, search, right? So in Picklist
Same.
also,
No,
there
same,
is,
same.
search.
I'm sorry, you may ask your questions after some time. Yeah, go ahead. Any questions from anyone? Okay, no questions. See, if audio is not okay or some issue with this or mic, etc., that will issue in the session if you have any questions. Fine. Since no questions, we'll proceed. Now we'll see how to create the implementation project here. Reality, when you work for any client in fresh instance, okay, you will see this page like this. You will find the blank page. One second. Okay. Here we have a many implementation projects. Now we don't have, just I given space and I search. This is a blank page you will find. Okay, whatever you create, that would be the very first project. Let's see how to create the implementation project. Okay, when you talk about implementation project, So we'll see how to create implementation project with offerings and without offerings. Okay. Implementation project with offerings. Okay, implementation project without offerings. What is the meaning of this? With offerings means offerings and options. You say offerings will have a options inside of it, already we discussed. Okay. So during the implementation project creation, we can add offerings and options. Implementation project without offerings. During the implementation project creation, you no need to add offerings and options. After creating implementation project, you can add offerings and options into the project. We will check both. So here click on create. Okay. The name we can give XYZ. Later we'll use different name. For now we'll proceed with this name. Say our client is XYZ. So by default system is taking the name as implementation project 13 and all. That means it is auto generated name. That means somebody proceeded with the system provided name. Already I think 12 projects are there with a series of 1, 2, 3. Right. So this name I am modifying. I want to have a name like XYZ implementation project. The same name system is taking as a code, project code, XYZ underscore implementation underscore project. The same name it is taking as a description. Okay. You can notice name and codes are mandatory, star mark. Okay, that means fields are required. Without entering the data in these fields, you cannot create implementation project. Description, there is no star mark. That means it's a completely optional. Anyways, the system is copying the name as a description. If you want to modify this, you can modify it. You can describe more detail level. And just now we are creating the project to perform the setups. And what is the status of our project? Not started. Yes, we are just creating now. And every project need to be assigned to specific person, specific user. Okay, every project should be assigned to specific user. When you talk about user, so by default system is taking our current user. Okay, we connected to the instance as a XYZ. Since we are creating the project from the same user, this project system is assigning to the same user. Real time, when you create the implementation project, to whom we have to assign. We no need to think a project need to be assigned to project manager. No. See, the entire project can be managed by project manager, but now we are not creating the same into the system. Whatever we are creating in the system, that is not to manage the entire implementation activity. This is just to manage the setups what we do within the instance. Okay, within the instance, what are the setups we do to manage those setups we are creating this implementation project. Okay, this project can be assigned to any person. There won't be any big impact and controlling or concept towards this assignment, just for information. So reality, who has to create the project? Project manager or consultant who has to create. Any consultant can create this implementation project. The consultant may be finance, supply chain management, or HCM or PPM. Any consultant can create, but just the consultant should be aware of what are the offerings and options we are going to implement for that client. That is the basic information anybody required to create an implementation project. Okay, so it's not like manager has to create and this project need to be assigned to manager. Okay, just for information purpose only we are assigning the start date and the finish date. Okay, when we are starting this project. So that means when we are starting this setups in the system, that is the point we have to understand. When we are starting the setups in the system, that we have to give as a start date. By default, you can accept when you are creating the same date system would pick, and finish date. say we are planning to complete these setups maybe within 1 week or 10 days. I'm just selecting here. The tentative finish date is 20th. But don't understand, after 20th, we cannot do any setups. Anytime the system will allow. This is just for information, so that you can set the due dates for different levels, that information can be tracked. If you are not able to complete the entire project related setup by 20th, when you look at this project, it shows the overall implementation setups need to be completed by 20th, but today is 25th, 5 days is past due. This is how we can get a information when we look at the project. So that purpose only this finish date would be useful. Otherwise, with this date, we are not going to control anything. This is just for information only. Okay, this is just for information only. We are not going to control anything. This is a point we have to understand. Okay, so we given the name. That is, of course, the name also we didn't provide complete name. By default, system is taking the name and we modified. And finally, the name we are taking as a XYJN's implementation project. When you practice in the instance, use some company name. Don't use your name. Okay, just use some company name. You can feel the reality. So the code system is defaulting, and description system is copying the name as description. The start date is status is not started. Yes, we not yet started working on this project, just we are creating. System is assigning this project to the current user. If you want to change this assignment, you can change. Click on this drop down, click on search. Okay, click on search. Now you want to assign this project to which user? Okay, then you can select. Say I want to assign to one specific user, search. Say okay. And one project can be assigned to only one user. You cannot assign one project to multiple users. But within this project, what we are going to have as a offerings, options, task list, or specific task, these can be assigned to multiple team members. When you talk about implementation project we can assign to only one team member, one person, or you can say one user or one employee. So this is what. Now what we plan to create implementation project with offerings and options. Let's see that. Click on next. Okay, click on next. Here you can see all the offerings and options which are enabled in this instance. That's a very, very important point. So we have seen how to enable the offerings and options. Whatever the offerings and options we enabled, only the offerings and options. Please go on mute. Please go on mute. Whatever the options and offerings we enable, only those would be available in this list. Okay, during the implementation project, only those offerings and options we can see here. If you don't enable financials, you don't find financials here. Already we enable. Almost all the offerings and options are enabled in this instance. That is the reason all we are able to see here. Okay, all we are able to see here. Yeah. Now what we have to do is, as per our implementation project, which offerings and options we are going to implement to our client, those we have to include into our project. Okay, those we have to include into implementation project. Now say we want to implement financials for our client, just we have to include those here. So we have financials here. What you can do is, say include, click on include. And within the financials, what are the options are available? You can see this. So it's expanded. Supplier invoice processing. If you don't enable supplier invoice processing at the time of enabling offerings and options, the supplier invoice processing you cannot see here. Okay, so we already enabled, so that is available here to include into our project. I'm including. Yes, we want to do the payables implementation. Supplier invoice processing is nothing but payables. And expense. Expense means fusion expense, employee expense reports. Okay, those you can, based on that, you can create invoices and you can pay to employees as a reimbursement process and all. So that the same we want to implement, include it. Fixed assets, include it. Customer invoice processing, nothing but receivables application, include it. And revenue management, here within this customer invoice processing means receivables. And there is separate application called as advanced collections also. Let's include, and revenue management is separate application, included. Intercompany is the concept. We'll discuss that, what is intercompany and all, and budgeting and encumbrance. So this is what we want to include into our project, which are part of financials. Okay, again, financials, business intelligence analysis, the BA analysis, the data, the transactions, what we are going to create across the finance applications. You want to perform the BA, business intelligence analysis on the data. In that case, just you can include, it will contain different sub options. So you can just enable those also. The fixed assets data, BA analysis, we want to conduct the analysis to analyze the data. Just include all this. So what are the applications we are going to implement for the client within the financials? We have to include within the financials. If you notice here, few applications we are not able to find here, right? This is what we discussed as a core finance applications. But when we are including financials into our XYZ implementation project, we are not able to see few applications. What are those? General ledger application. So already we have seen at the time of enabling offerings and options, when you enable financials, automatically system selected general ledger. That means here if you include financials into our project, automatically we will get general ledger application. And if you include supplier invoice processing, we have seen when we enable supplier invoice processing and customer invoice processing, system selected cash management automatically as a part of enabling offerings and options. Now, if you select or if you include supplier invoice processing or customer invoice processing, automatically the cash management will be included, okay, in our implementation project. That means the cash management and general ledger applications you don't need to include into our project separately. Within the financials, when you include financials, automatically general ledger application can be included in our project. When we include supplier invoice processing, that means payables, or if not this, at least this customer invoice processing, or it may be both. When you include these, automatically will get cash management application as a part of our implementation project. That is the reason we don't need to include those. So this is how we have to include. In the same way, if you want to include some other offerings also, so you are doing the implementation for your client, you guys are going to implement finance and procurement applications. In that case, you can include procurement. Just expand it. You can see before you include. Again, you may include purchasing. See what we have inside of procurement. Let's try to understand. Anyway, we are not going to work on procurement, but we'll work on the basics of inventory, purchasing, and order management applications. So as a part of procurement, what are the different applications we have? You can see here. Within the procurement only, we have a key application called the purchasing application, and we have self-service procurement. if somebody is from EVS background, this is nothing but procurement. Okay, supplier invoice processing. Why the payables they given within the procurement? If any client is going to implement the procurement along with the payables application, they can just select procurement. They no need to select supplier invoice processing within the finance. And supplier portal is separate application, sourcing is separate application, supplier qualification separate, procurement contracts is separate. So this is how we have a different applications as a part of procurement offering. If you are going to implement for your client, that means there will be separate consultant for procurement. They can just include what are the applications they are going to implement for the client. Now anyway, we don't require those details, just for information. That's how you can include anything into your project. Once you include, say, well, let's go through what we included. Within the finance, whatever we could see here, everything we included. If you don't enable at the time of enabling offerings and options, you don't find here. For example, when you try to include XYZ INC, okay, within this implementation project, when you try to include supplier invoice processing, say you are not able to find here. That means you have to go back to enabling offerings and options and make sure that the supplier invoice processing is enabled at that level, then only this will be displayed here. Otherwise, when you try to include into your project, you don't find this. First you have to enable, then include. Remember the terms. First step is enabling. Second step is including into project. Now simply you can say save and open project. Here you can get some description related to this offerings and options. I'm dragging this here. So finance, what finance contains. Supplier invoice processing, what it contains. Expenses, what it contains. Fixed assets, what it contains. This is some brief description you can see for each and every offering and option level also. Okay, when you practice, you may go through, or else no issues. Ignore it, you'll come to know in our classes. Right now you can click on save and open project. Click on save and open project. When you click on save and open project, what system will do is, here we just created, right? Let me update that. When you create implementation project, system creates task list. Now what are the offerings and options we selected? Based on that, say we included payables, supplier invoice processing, nothing but payables. We included supplier invoice processing. That means payables we included. To implement payables application, what are the setups we have to do? The setups automatically system will generate into our project. The same way within the financials, whatever we included, for all the application system will list out all the setups. To implement payables, what setups we have to do? To implement receivables, what setups we have to do? To implement fixed assets, what setups we have to do? To implement expenses, what setups we have to do? So along with this application specific setups, there will be some common setups. Okay, there will be some common setups which are required to implement any other application. So that means there will be some common setups which are required for every application. There will be setups which are very specific to application. So for all those, system will create the task list. Okay, we'll go and check whether system created task list or not. It will take some time. Yeah, now you could see. So this is our project. System is created. Of course, we entered this name, and this is a basic information. The name what we given, the same system is taking as a code. Okay, and it is assigned to this user. The project is assigned to this user, and here you could see the status of our project is not started, and start date of this project is this, and finish date, the tentative finish date, we are just planning to complete by 20th of this month. Okay, so these details, the basic information, you can edit and you can just do the changes however you want to see this. Only the point is everything you can change except code. Code you cannot edit. Click on edit. So you can change the name, the field is editable. Okay. And code you cannot change. The field is freezed. It is protected from any updates. And description you can change at any point of time. Status. Say you started working on this project, then you can set the status as a in progress. You completed all the setups. Okay, you in the sense your team. So you can select in progress. Okay, you started working, you can set in progress. You completed project, you can set the status as completed. Even if you set the project status as completed, still system will allow you to work on this project. This is just for information, no controls in the system to act based on the status. Select just in progress and assign to, already we assigned to FA student. If you want to change this assignment, the same process, you can click on search and you can search, find out the user which already you created or which are available. So I'm clicking on search, put letter A. Users which are available with the A, all system is displaying. Yeah. You can select any user. Since this is the Vision instance, okay, sample data is available. In the real instance, you don't find any users. Whatever the user you create, that would be the first user. That's all. If you want to change the start date and finish date, yes, you can change and you can say save and close. So once you create the project, this is how you can find the details within the project. Basic information you can edit how you require. If you place the cursor on this, it is showing in progress. Now here you
Hello,
can,
Lakshman.
please.
Good morning. This is Manoj. Actually, one quick question. So, will FAH like Fusion Accounting Hub will it called as offering?
Yeah, that is separate offering.
Okay. So, will you cover this FAH during this course duration?
That is not part of finance. That is separate course altogether. Don't
Okay.
these sort of questions we can discuss in the end of the session. It's very relevant. I totally agree. But whatever the point we are discussing, we can discuss. Yeah, please we'll do that. Thank you. So, so system what system did? It created separate folder for financials. If you include procurement also into your project, it will create one more folder. Okay, separate folder offering wise. So you just expand this financials offering. Since we included financials into this project, it created one folder. You expand it. Within this, you can find the task list. These all are the task list. Okay, within this offering, wherever you see the folder icon, these all are the task list you can call. That means these will contain tasks. The task list may be related to a specific application or may not related to application. You take example here. It is showing one task list called as define invoicing and payment configuration. Define invoicing and payment configuration is nothing but payables application. That means to implement payables application, what are the setups we have to do? All the setups will be part of that folder. Okay, just expand that define invoicing and payments configuration folder. Again, we have subfolders inside of that. Okay. Under define invoicing and payment configuration, we have subfolders. Define supplier configuration for financial, define payables, define disbursements. Okay, this and that. We have many subfolders. You can expand any one of the folder again. Under define payables, this is what we have. Wherever you don't have any folder option, that you can call as a task. Okay, that you can call as a task. So wherever you see the folder option, that you call as a task list. Remember this terminology. Okay. If you see something with the folder option, folder icon, that we have to call as a task list within the project. Okay, the task list may be specific option. If you take define invoicing and payment configuration, this is one of the option within the financials. The financials offering, this is the one of the option. It refers payables application. And under that we have this is also task list. This is a task list only. but this task list is related to exactly payables application. Within the task list, we have subtask list. Within the subtask list, we have a tasks. If you want to do any setups, we have to use these tasks only. Why we are using these task lists? Just to classify the tasks for our convenience purpose. Okay, just for our convenience, when we are going to do the setups, when we are going to manage the setups after implementation, the task list will help us to easily access the relevant tasks. That is the purpose we have that. Okay, so these are the points we have to understand. There are a lot of other information we have to understand here. We'll go one by one. Okay, so this is how you can find the what setups we have to do for each and every application. I'm just going to collapse this section. Click on that. Yes. Now I want to check what setups we have to do for receivables. See, define receivables configuration. Expand it. Now you can see within this define receivables configuration task list. Since we have a folder, we are calling as a task list. If you place the cursor on that, the same it is talking about task list. Within this define receivables configuration task list, we have many task lists. Okay, you can expand any one of the subtask list. Again, it may contains child task list or directly task. Here we can notice is almost all are the tasks only. No folder icon. That means these are the tasks. With these tasks only you can do the setups. But all setups we have to do, not mandated, not required. Totally depends on the business requirement. But in our classes, we'll go through the maximum what we have to understand when we are learning this product, what will help us to get the job as well as to survive whatever the information we require, everything will cover. So this is how just you can notice for each and every application we have a separate task list. So you can collapse. Okay. So fixed assets, define fixed assets configuration. See, these are the application specific. And here you can notice define common application configuration for financials, define common financial configuration. These are the common, irrespective of payables, expense, fixed assets, receivables, and other application. These two setups, two task lists are common. That means without completing these setups, you cannot implement, you cannot use any finance application. Okay, that anyway, we'll come across all those. We'll discuss about what setups we have to do, what is the sequence we have to follow, why we have to follow that, where we have a dependency and where we don't have dependency. There are many points to understand. Yes, we will discuss all those. Now, just now we have seen how to create our implementation project by including offerings and options. Okay, so done. You give me 5 more minutes, I'll explain few more points. After that, I'll take your questions on this activity. Now here you can see this is our implementation project. Okay, if you want to find all the projects, here you can click on search. Okay, here you can click on search, you can find all the projects. Okay, you can see all the projects here. And if you want to find our project, ideally what happens is when you create new implementation project, by default you can find that project on the top only. Since this is a Visual instance, you can have a multiple projects, so easily you can find your project the same list on the top. Okay, so otherwise what you can do is, say after you somebody or created few projects and all, in that case just simply you can search for your project XYZ INC. This is how you can find your project. Or else what you want to do is you want to default your project. Whenever you just come to that page, what you can do, go to task list, manage implementation projects. You just click on overview, so the system will display which projects are assigned to this XYZ INC. Click on overview. It is displaying nothing. Why? no project is assigned to XYZ. The project we created just now that we assigned to FA student, right? So that's how you can easily find out if any projects are assigned to the current user. It will display directly once you click on overview. You may just update the assignment, click on the project name or click on edit icon. Okay, you can click on the project name because it's a hyperlink. Okay, now click on edit, change this assignment. Say we want to assign to XYZ. Select, say okay. Say save and close. So update it against the current username. Now click on done. Now next time if you want to find out our project which is assigned to current user, it would be easy for us. Go to manage implementation projects, click on overview. So it is directly displaying. Okay, this is how you can access. There are many other parts. We will discuss all those. Okay. Now what we'll do is we'll see how to create the implementation project without offerings. After creating implementation project, we can add the offerings. We'll see how that is possible. So click on create. I'm just giving the name as ABCIMC implementation project. Okay, you can provide any finish date, but this is not mandatory. You may ignore. Now click on save and open project. If I click on next, system will display all the offerings and options, those you can include. Okay, but we want to complete this project creation without selecting any offerings and options. Our plan is after creating the project, we want to add, not during the project creation. Now say save and open project. Okay, just wait for a second, it takes time. Fine. Here is our implementation project, ABCINC. We don't have anything inside of this project. Now, whatever you want to include into this project, yes, you can do this. How to include? Click on add. So what we want to include? We want to include financials offering, entire financials offering. So here search, you can select as offering. If you want to include any option, you have to select task list. Task list can be a specific option or within that option list of tasks. I want to include offerings. Which offering we want to include into our project? Say financials. Search, select, say apply. Just wait for a second because it has to generate the task list. It takes some time. Now we can see in the background financials is added. Okay. In the same way, if you want to add any other options also, you can add. Okay, here search for, say, for example, say task list, define invoicing. Now you can see define invoicing and payment configuration. This is one of the option. You can include it. Select and say apply. If you don't want to include entire offering directly, one by one options also you can add. Define invoicing and payment configuration, one of the options that is already available in the financials, but just to understand how to add it. If not entire task list, specific task also you can add into our project tasks. Here I can say I'll just search for any one of the tasks. You don't need to think about what task this is all about. Just try to understand how to add, what is the purpose and all will come to. So I want to add one of the tasks called as payment terms. Select and say apply. The background you can sit added. Set done. This is how you can add entire offering or specific option, or within the option like tasks list also you can add, and you can add specific task also into our project. Anyway, these are not required for us. Everything we have in the financials. So I'm selecting this task, say delete. Yes. This task list also not required. The reason within the financials we have, we expand it. Already we have in this define invoicing and payment configuration. Right. But again, we don't need it here. So select the delete. Okay. So this is how you can create implementation project. At any point of time, you can add or you can remove the offerings and options from the project. You want to include procurement also into this project. Click on add, select offerings, because procurement is an offering. Search, select, say apply. So it's added. Click on done. So this is how we can create implementation project. We can add or remove the offerings or options or task lists or tasks. Okay. During the implementation project, you can add offerings and options. Okay. During the implementation project, we can add offerings and options only. Specific task list and task we cannot add. After creating implementation project, you can add anything. You can just remove any specific area also. See here what I'm going to do is, or just let me select financials are added, but I am not going to implement fixed assets. I can select only fixed assets and I can delete from the project. That means from this project, I cannot do any fixed asset related setups. Okay, I cannot do any fixed asset related setups. I want to remove financials. And one more point. The project here, the purpose is to do the setup. Say I completed entire financial setup. From the project, if I remove financials, my setups will remain as this. I may delete the entire project, but my setups will remain as this. just to access the setup, the system environment, we are doing that. That's all. So by deleting the project or by deleting the offerings and options from the project, what difference we can find? We cannot navigate to those pages. Now only procurement we have. Now I want to do finance setup. If I try to do the finance setups, I cannot do from this project. In this project, we have only procurement setups only we can. If I want to do financial setups, include financials here so that you will be able to find finance related setups within this project with the help of this financials offering. Then you can perform the setup. So this is what we have to understand. There are many other relevant points when you talk about project. We'll discuss all those. Before we proceed with those, any questions from anyone, please? Any questions, please?
Yeah, I have one question, Mr. Lakshman. Is when you are talking about assigning to a user, project assigning to user.
No. 1 second. I'm sorry. Those points we'll discuss in the next step. Is all. Whatever we discussed so far. Okay, you are talking about project assignment.
Yes.
Please go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, project assignment. Assigning to a user. Suppose if you want to delegate one user for that, and on top of that, I want to monitor. Is it not limitation to only assigning to one user?
Yeah.
Or is there any roundabout?
1 second. The very first point is you cannot delegate to any user. It's not like you are giving some privileges, you are giving some rights. No, it is just for information. Now see, at the time of project creation, we selected XYZ INC. What XYZ INC can do, what XYZ INC cannot do, nothing is there. Anyone can work on this project. This is just for information. Okay, nothing, no control, no functionality behind it. By seeing project, we can understand, okay, this project is assigned to so and so person. That's all. Okay. So no control works on that. No delegation, just nothing, no privileges, just for information. That's all. Yeah. Any other questions here, please? Okay. Seems to no questions. Now we'll proceed with a few other points. Fine. Say this is our implementation, or else we'll go to our XYZ implementation. Now just click on overview. How many projects are assigned to this user? Those projects system will display. One is XYZ INC, other one is ABC INC. Anyway, ABC INC project is not required for us. I'm just deleting that. Okay, you can notice this message. Once you delete, it cannot be reversed. Do you want to continue? Yes. See, by using this project, after completing all the setups, you can delete the project, but generally we don't do that. Okay, we can delete. Even if you delete all this entire project or offering or task list or task within the project, our setups will remain as this. There won't be any issue with those setups. So that is a point we have to notice. It's taking time. Let's ignore this. We'll see later. Okay. So this is how we created project. Now we can open our XYZ INC implementation project. Yeah, that project got deleted. Now we have only this project. You can open this. Fine. Now say you want to do some setup. Okay, you want to do specific setup. If you want to do specific setup, you have to follow the navigation. So say I want to do one specific setup. Of course, you may be very new to this application. You don't need to worry about it. These points will discuss very detailed to make you to understand how we have to follow the navigation to do something. I'm taking through this. It is not mandatory. You should be aware of those names, etc. Say, for example, I want to create calendar. What does it mean by calendar? Why we have to create in the system? What are the different type of calendars we have, etc., etc. Everything we'll discuss very soon. Okay, now don't start thinking on that point why we have to create the calendar and how we have to create. Not required now. Later we'll see. Now just I'm taking simple task as I want to create one calendar. The same you can call as accounting calendar. Okay, all we'll discuss very detailed level. For now, I'm just taking simple activity as I want to create one accounting calendar in the system. How to create? I have to click on, I have to expand the financials. Okay, after expanding the financials, I have to go to this task list called as define common application configuration for financials. Expand this. Okay. Here, just scroll a little down. Fine. Here, you can again go to define enterprise structures for financials. Fine. Define enterprise structure for financials. And again here, just I'm giving some information. Again, you can go to define enterprise for financials. Okay, this is how you have to take some lengthy navigations. So exactly the same task, if you want to perform, you can proceed with this. Just I'm showing you how, if you want to do something, how you have to go one by one. Okay, and here you can find that under this. Again, you have to expand this. Okay, under this you can find all those tasks. So this is any setup. If you want to perform, you have to take this sort of navigations here and there. But instead of doing all these, what you can do is just collapse this. Instead of doing all this, what you want to do? You want to create accounting calendar. You don't need to follow any navigations. Simply you can search for the task here. But you should aware of the task. When you go through our classes, you will come to know all the tasks. So it will be easy for you to perform in the system. So I want to create accounting calendar. Search for accounting calendar. I don't need to type the full name also. So click on search. It is showing the task. The task name is manage accounting calendars. Okay, click on manage accounting calendars. So it is displaying. There is a folder called as define calendars. Within the define calendars, we have manage accounting calendars folder. Now, really, if you want to take the navigation, what navigation you have to take, you can see here. Here there will be show hierarchy. Click on show hierarchy. So really, if you want to take the navigation to create accounting calendar, first you have to go to financials. Within the financials, you have to expand the folder called as define common application configuration for financials. Under that, again, there is one subfolder called as define enterprise structure for financials. Again, you have to expand that. It will display one more task list or folder called as define financial reporting structure. Once you expand that folder also, you will find the folder called as define calendars. Once you expand define calendars folder, you can find manage accounting calendars. Okay, manage accounting calendars. So this is all. And one more point, the same instance you can open in the multiple tabs and you can perform the different activities. Okay. You can copy this URL and you can just open one more tab window right here. The same instance you can open. The two different tabs we have same instance connected. Now again here you can go to or implementation project. Click on task list. Click on manage implementation projects. Click on overview and open our project. If you want to complete any setup by taking the very manual navigation, you have to go one by one step. Okay. Fine. So here, what is the navigation? First, we have to expand the financials. Okay. You just expand financials. I'm expanding. Within the financials, you have to go to define common application configuration for financials. Define common application configuration for financials. Expand it. And under that, we have to go to define enterprise structures for financials. Go to define enterprise structures for financials. Okay, this we have to expand. Under that, you can find define financial reporting structures. Okay, here you have the same. Define financial reporting structures. So expand it. Under that, we'll have a folder called as define calendars. Yes, we have a define calendars folder. Under define calendars, you can find manage accounting calendars. You expand it. Yes, we have manage accounting calendars. Now, if you click on this icon, arrow mark, this we call as go to task. If you want to create accounting calendar, here you can click on go to task. So only for tasks only this go to task icon would be available. Now define calendars is task list. No go to task icon. For everything. Okay. Only for tasks you can find go to task icon. Just click on go to task icon. It will take us to the page where we can create accounting calendar. In this page we can create accounting calendar. Anyway, we'll have a separate sessions to discuss all these points detail level. I'm trying to introduce how you can perform the setups once you have access to implementation project. So here you can create the accounting calendar. Okay, you have to click on go to task icon. It will take us to that page. And if you want to create accounting calendar, click on create. So in this page, we can create accounting calendar. Why we have to create, what we have to understand, we will discuss all those. Now it is not required for us, just for information. Okay. So this is how you can simplify our work. You don't need to follow very lengthy navigation paths. Okay. Once we go through these classes, you'll come to know what setups we have to do and what is the sequence. Accordingly, simply you can search and you can find the task and directly you can proceed and you can complete it. Okay. So this is the point we have to understand. So any questions here, please? Whatever we discussed on those points, any questions you tell. Anyway, we are going to discuss few other points also. On what we discussed, any questions, please?
Yeah, hi Lakshman.
Please.
Just for a quick understanding from my end, so whatever options or whatever that pick list that we are seeing in the window, so we can get everything with a single search in search box, right? Either it can be anything. We can get in single search, right? We don't need to navigate to anything. If you want something like you mentioned like manage accounting calendar something. So like that, if we search for something, we'll get for with one single search, right? No need to navigate for anything.
Nothing. You no need to navigate for anything. Say whatever you're searching, make sure that is there in this project. Say I'm going to search for one task called as task related to procurement. Procurement we don't have in our project, right? You cannot find it. So what offerings are included in your project, those offerings related, anything you can search and find. For example, you want to find on task related to PPM, project portfolio management. You have only financials. If you search for project related tasks here, you don't find. Okay, that is the point.
Yeah, got it, Lakshman. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Any other questions here? We'll discuss all these options and all these columns, etc. Don't look at those now. I'll explain. Before we proceed with that, any questions on what we discussed, please? Right, no questions. Now we'll go one by one. These points. Fine. Now here, if you expand any this offering or options, you could see very clearly which is optional and which is mandatory. Okay, which is mandatory, which is optional. You can say wherever you see the star mark, that means those setups are mandatory. The task list related tasks are mandatory. If you want to see detail level, you can see at task level also. So define calendars. This folder is mandatory, but within that we have two tasks. Manage accounting calendars, manage transaction calendars. So manage accounting calendar, this is a mandatory, this is optional. When we work on this, what is the purpose and all we'll discuss. And again, I'll expand this, define calendars. I'll expand, define accounting calendar configuration. Now here you can see, manage primary ledgers is mandatory, compulsory, required. Assign legal entities is optional, there is no star mark. Here specify ledger options, okay, it is required. Assign balance segment values, this is optional, this is optional, this is optional. Why this is optional, what is the meaning of primary ledger, etc. We will come to know very soon. Okay, don't start thinking on those points, okay, to find out the colors. Not required now. Just I'm trying to give you the information. Easily you can identify which setup is mandatory, which setup is optional when you are implementing so-and-so application. And one more point. The setups what we need to do, maximum setups will be in the sequence only. You no need to go and find out the sequence. Many setups, I would say all, many setups will be in the sequence. Many setups will be in the sequence. So our job will become easy when you work as a consultant. Even if you don't remember few task names during the implementation, no issues. You can find out those in the system environment and the sequence. By seeing that, you can understand and you can do that. So this is the one point we have to understand. Okay, the first column in this report is tasks. We are discussing about the same. Okay, the second one, help. Okay, say we are working on this financials or something else and we are not aware of something. Maybe you may have experience or maybe you are just learning and you may start working. If you are not aware of something, you can use help and you can find out the information about the offering, related to specific task or whatever you are dealing with that. So here, if you click on username, you can find an option called as hide help icon. Okay, I'm clicking on that, hide help icon. If I refresh this page, this icon will be hidden. See here, you can find define implementation users, define initial configuration, define enterprise structure for financials. These all help icons are available. Wherever help is applicable, Oracle is providing some information to understand about that. Okay, there you can find help icons. Now what I did here, I just selected hide. Now I'll just refresh this page and we'll come back and we'll see. Just go back to the same. Okay, now do you find any help here? No. Disabled. If you want enabled, say show help icons. Wherever help is applicable, wherever you can get some information about the same, you can say show help icon. Now refresh this page. Help will be enabled wherever it is applicable. See, here also it is showing. What is the implementation project meaning? If you want to understand, click on this. Open our project. Okay, here you can see the help. Manage accounting calendars. What is accounting calendar you want to understand? Click on this help icon. Just click on help icon. It is talking about. And if you want to understand accounting calendar options, this and that, or if you can click on search help. It will take us to help portal. Okay. Here you can search for anything. Any information you want to understand, you can search. Wait for a second. Okay. So accounting calendar related help information. Okay, accounting calendars, periods, calendars, accounting period type calendar. These are all related to accounting calendar only. We are searching for accounting calendar. In our classes, we'll understand you don't need to search and read and you don't need to find out the information. In classes, whatever we discuss, that is enough. When we are working, still if you want to, if there is some scenario situation where you want to know something else, in those scenarios, to explore on that, you may use this help. Otherwise, ideally, it is not required for us. Okay, find more in this content. That means display a few other search results which are related to accounting calendar. Just click on this. So here you can find accounting periods, calendar, period types, calendar periods, period statuses. All these are related to calendar only. Okay, filter your results. See here, documents you can find. If any document related to accounting calendar, it will display. Click on this. Okay. Click on this calendars. It's not applicable. I think it's not showing related to that. No document is available on this. You can filter with this. With the search options, you can filter. Here you can search FAQs. Okay. The questions. Okay. No matching for this accounting calendar related. No questions. I think no information is available. Any video is available on accounting calendar. No match results not found. No videos are available. So this is all just you can go through some tutorial support or whatever, like whatever information required accordingly. You can check here and it will get, you can just go through all these details. So that's how you can use the help option. Okay. Here directly you can click on accounting calendar options. So it is navigating us to the page where you can find accounting calendar options. Here this complete information is related to that. There's a lot of other details also here. FAQs for accounting calendar. This is how just you can simply click on this. How accounting calendars are validated. Click on this. Yeah. How accounting calendars are validated. This is how. So once we start working on that, you will understand. Even if you want to use this help, you can use it. So this is how Oracle is providing the help for each and every task and task list, etc. Okay, the next column. Here we discussed about task. Task means it could be offering name or option name, or within the option it could be task list, or inside of the task list that may be task. And again we discussed few points. It could be option or task list or task, which is mandatory and optional, you can see here. Under the sequence also you can find. Okay. And second point is help. Okay, the second point is help. You can enable or disable. You don't want to see this help here. You don't want to go to that help portal to find out some information. In that case, you can disable this. Hide help icon, then it will be hidden. Next one is go to task. Already we have seen, if you want to do any setups, you have to use the task, then you can navigate to the relevant pages. Okay, you can just expand any one of the task list. Expand again this task list. Now I want to create payment terms. Here task, go to task is enabled. If you notice here, go to task is available only for tasks. These all are the tasks. For task list or offerings and options, it won't be available. Okay, entire offering options, task list level, you cannot do anything. Within that, you will have a specific task, those only you can perform. So that is the purpose of go to task icon. Okay, click on this, it will take us to the relevant page. Okay, here we can create the payment terms. What does it mean by payment terms and all? We will discuss and do it. Now not required. Okay. So that is the purpose of the task, go to task column. The next one is selected scope. Now we cannot understand this. Okay. Once we complete at least a few setups, then we'll come across with this column related usage. Now we cannot. Okay. Now just remember that point. We'll come to know about the selected scope very soon. And next column is status. So we can set however we set status for this project as in progress. In the same way for this also you can set the status. So for entire offering level or options level or task list level or specific task level also you can set the status. Okay. Say for entire financials I want to set the status as in progress. As of now, see the status. Place cursor on that, says not started. The financial related implementation not started. Here we have two options. One is you can click on this directly and you can update the status. Otherwise, select financials and here you can click on edit status. Okay, you can select financials and you can click on edit status, or else directly you can go to that status and click on the same. It will open the pop-up. Here you can say in progress. Means you started working on it. Say save and close. Yep. Now you can see financial status is in progress. Say within the financials, one of the application setups you completed. Say for example, you completed payable related setups. Define invoicing and payment configuration, nothing but payables. Now you can click on the same current status icon and you can set the status completed. So save and close. Okay. Now you can see the entire financial status is in progress. Within the financials, payments already we completed, we updated the status. Now if anybody will look at this project, easily they can understand. No further communication is required on this. By seeing this project, we can understand what are the application setups are completed, which setups are in progress, etc. And this predecessor task in the sense dependencies. If you want to complete one setup, any dependent setups we have to complete or not, that system will provide us information. See here. So if you want to complete these setups, of course, those are in the task list. Anything you can take. If you want to complete this, there is some dependency setup. Okay, if you want to complete this define payables and tax withholding related setup. Okay, if you want to complete these setups, okay, there is one dependency setup. What is that? You can click on this, it will display. To complete these setups, which setup you should complete first? Define payables. These setups we have to complete. Okay, so define payables is one of the task list. Within this task list, what are the setups are available? Those we have to complete. Once you complete this define payable related setups, then only this setup you can perform. Or else then only this setup benefit you can take. This is how the dependency setups you can find here. Okay, for which setup, which is the dependency you can find. Now you can notice here for all these setups, system is showing XYZ and C. Okay, for all tasks, not task list or offering or options, task level. Task will only be performed, right? It is showing the same name, XYZ. So why it is showing? Project level we assign XYZ and C. That is the reason. Since project level that is assigned, it would be applicable for entire project related tasks. Okay, now what you want to do is receivables you want to assign to another resource. Okay. One second, let me collapse this. The receivables you want to assign to different resource. Now you can select receivables. Okay, select define receivables configuration, then click on assign tasks. Okay, assign task. Here you can click on add. Since we are using the vision instance, there will be a number of users. You can search and select any one of the user for your practice purpose. Okay, I'm just going to select this user. Say apply. Set done.
Yeah, hi Lakshman. Sorry to interrupt you here. It's my login time and I'm leaving for the day.
Yeah,
Is it fine?
fine. I'm going to finish in 2 minutes. Yeah, thank
Yeah,
you.
uh,
Yeah. So this is how you can assign for entire receivables. You can assign one person. So that means this person is going to take the responsibility of completing the receivable setups. In the same way, you can add multiple peoples also for the same receivables. Then, okay, you can set the due dates for these people. Okay, you can say like this person has to complete by 14th. Both has to complete. They'll have a communication. They will plan and they'll do it. But we are giving the time up to 14th of this month to complete receivables configuration. These two people have to take the responsibility. Just say save and close. Okay. So now you can expand receivables. Go to any one of the tasks. Now you can see within the receivables for all tasks, 3 members are there. 2 we assign, one is project level assigned, the same is defaulted. Now this one user and 2 more users. Place cursor on 2 more users. Okay, those names you can see, including one is this user, other one is this user. For this user, there is a due date. For this user, XYZ, there is a due date. Okay. So this is how just you can assign, or else at this task level, you can take this specific task. At task level, you want to assign specific. This task we want to assign to specific resource. In that case, select this task, click on assign tasks. So already this task is assigned to 3 members. You see here, for this user permitted, this XYZ user is permitted. How these two are permitted? To complete these setups, what are the roles are required for these 2 users? The roles are available. For this user, roles are not available. Which roles at all? Here is another point. There we'll understand. In the background we have permissions and all, and authorized roles we have. There you will understand. Okay, this is how you can see. This is how you can assign entire project or specific offering or option or a task list or task to one or multiple team members, and you can set the due date. Okay, the remaining points, and we will further will work on the same in the tomorrow session. We're done for today. If you have any questions, you can stay back. No further discussions we are going to have. If you have some work or any just urgency, if you want to drop from the session, you can go ahead. No discussions from my end. Only I'll be available to answer your questions if you have any queries. Yeah, thank you all. Have a good day and good night. See you tomorrow. Now, any questions, please?
Lakshman, there's predecessor tasks is there, right? So it's the standard one, and it will show all the dependency tasks to be done before we do the child one.
Correct, exactly. These are standard. In case of PaaS, platform as a service, the technical people can create that functionalities. Those they can add here as a one of the tasks.
Okay.
If any setup related they will create, they will add here. Otherwise, the transaction creation process, they will add it.
So if we are in PaaS, then we can customize and make any predecessor tasks for the child ones.
Yeah, it depends. See, you are going to develop altogether new custom application, not only just functionality. In that case, definitely, you know very well what is the dependency. Okay, which task you can complete without any dependency. Accordingly, you can plan and you can arrange this section in this.
Can't we do the existing task, the standard task?
No, I'm not talking about standard task. If you are developing the new application, custom application, there you can plan. The technical people will take care of that. Here, whatever Oracle is providing, yes, we can proceed on that. There is no dependency between Oracle provided tasks and the custom task which we are going to create.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. Lakshman.
Yeah, hi, good morning, please.
The project, the project level you have assigned it to one user.
Correct.
So all the offerings of the all the options and tasks of that offering, all the offerings, tasks list, the username came from the one we have used for the project level user assignment.
Defaulted, yes, defaulted to entire.
Defaulted.
Yeah.
By default it came. By default it came.
Correct.
But you again went to pay account receivable options, AR options, and assigned it to 2 users.
Correct.
So when you went to the tasks list, tasks, then you found it 3 users. By default, whoever was assigned the total project, and also the 2 users assigned to the account receivable module.
Correct.
But one of them was coming as a red list, and you said that roles were not assigned. Yes. Is it the FSM role that was not assigned to him?
Not only FSM, there are many roles which will give the privileges for different tasks that we will discuss here. Okay. Simple. Let me explain since you have. Okay. I'll click on this. Authorized roles. If you want to complete this manage receivable activity setup, which roles will help you, you can see that list here.
Okay.
Roles you will be able to do that setup, you can see here. These are all roles.
Okay.
You can use. See here, in for every setup, this is included. That means if you have access to this, all setups you can complete. Say you don't have access to this setup, this role. You have access to billing manager. Yes. If you have access to billing manager role, you will be able to do this setup. But this billing manager may have a limited access to few setups. Yep.
So that means the one user who has the authorization, he was already assigned the roles.
Yeah, 2 users. Yeah, two more. Total 3 users, right?
Yeah. 2 users were assigned with the roles, and one was not assigned with the roles.
Yeah, with the required role. What are the role
And
required? That
yeah.
correct.
Okay.
Fine.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. We will discuss this
Mr. Lakshman.
tomorrow's session. We will discuss since we didn't touch this that much. Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, I mean here, like unlike the project level, here only the assigned users can work on this, or anyone. This is also
Anyone
just for the
can work.
information.
This is just for information. So far, whatever we discussed, this assignment, status updates, etc. This is just for information purpose only, so that we'll get some progress, like what's
Tracking.
like who is working, who is responsible. Otherwise, you are in the project, just newly joined into the team. You have to go and talk to them, who is working on what is the progress. You may go and ask somebody what is the status of receivables. They may say the person is on leave. Okay, we'll talk to him and this and that. Instead of going with all these approaches and all, by looking at this project, you can understand. Okay, these are the just if you get access to the instance by going through this project, you can understand many things. And here you can generate the report also. Those points will come into
Yeah. So this is subject to the permissions. Even if it is assigned or unassigned, subject to the permissions. If one user has the permissions, he can work on that, right?
Exactly. See, very simple. Let's make it very simple.
Yeah.
Who got access to FSM, functional setup manager? That person can do all this.
Correct.
Whether the person is part of this project or not, system won't check. So if you get access to FSM, what are the projects are available, doesn't matter those are assigned to whom, you can work on those.
Okay. And one more question, Lakshman. It's not related to today's session. So I got access to the lab box. It means access to the
instance
financial
instance.
Yeah, exactly. So let us say after this class, I started working on that. I started practice on that. If I have any doubts, what should I do? Whom should I? It means, do you have any backend support to clarify the doubts?
Yeah. See, what we will do is, yes, I totally agree for your question, but mostly you don't get any questions because we are discussing everything detail level. If something you come across like a showstopper, you are not able to proceed from that step or whatever you are working on it because of instance issue or some small confusion or with some issue. So if it is something like showstopper, you want to proceed but you are not able to, in that case, just our team will arrange a call. You can talk to them, they'll arrange a call. Or else you can, if you think like it's not that much urgent, you can drop an email, or else you can wait till tomorrow session. In the tomorrow session, we can discuss. Okay, it totally depends. Okay, if it is very urgent, you don't want to wait, our team will arrange a call. Okay, or else have a set of questions. You have 4 or 5 questions. It's not good to send an email, right? Through email communication, it doesn't work properly. If it's a simple question, this is what I want to do, how? Simple answer. This is how, just simply I can answer through email. If you have a set of questions, always good to one-on-one call, right? We can have a connection and we can discuss so that there could be cross questions from you and we can spend enough time to understand those points. Or else every day in the end of the session, you can raise all your questions, we can discuss.
Okay, very good. Thank you. And one more question. I got instance access to the Oracle demos. Is this the same as cloud? I mean, oraclecloud.com, or
you
is
got
it?
access to the same. Now the instance, whatever I'm using in the class, you got access to the same instance. I'm also using the same.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. And one more thing, sorry, the PL, watched only
No,
yours.
we're done with the session now.
video.
We can spend enough time.
I got confused. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Fine. Any other questions from anyone, please?
Yeah, Mr. Lakshman,
Yeah.
these instance access every week, you said the password will change.
This weekend it didn't happen.
Okay, so that means can we practice on Saturdays and Sundays?
Yeah. Saturdays and Sundays also you can practice. See, that is the time we get, right? That is actually.
That is what I was wondering. Was it limited only for 5 days, or Saturdays, Sundays also we can access?
No, yeah, 7 days you can access. Sometimes they'll change the password and it takes some time to us to get the update from the support. So in those scenarios, we can reset. It may be little inconvenience for you guys, but we'll try to set it immediately as soon as possible. That's how. Anyway, you can plan Saturdays and Sundays.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, done.